Vacuum inspection. So this particular vacuum brand really doesn't matter. They all operate mostly the same, but Kayla was using it earlier this morning and got a really stinky smell, probably like a smoky smell. So I was taking it apart this evening to see what's going on. So all of these are generally the same, and you have to get access to the roller underneath. You can see a little better the roller underneath. Sometimes this bottom part comes off, sometimes the top part comes off, but there's going to be a number of screws. There's a screw hole here. Sometimes there's one up in here. On this one, once you get all that, this top part comes off. Set that aside. And then what we have, spin it around, is the roller mechanism. And this brush head just spins when you've got it running, kicking stuff up into the suction, right? So it's what we look for is, it was kind of a stinky, smoky smell. Here's our motor. Here's a little gear drive for the belt. So the belt goes from the electric motor to the roller here. So I was actually surprised to see that not only was the belt here, but actually looked to be in fine condition. Although when I was feeling the roller, I was like, this is really stiff, so what's going on? Well, if this is moving and the belt is on, then we only have a couple options. These generally just sit in there. So all I'm doing is pushing from the bottom. You can see this side just kind of slid out. Over here now, as I pull, the belt comes right off, all right? So then my next point of inspection, again, I'll look at the belt. Belt actually seems to be fine, has all its teeth, etc. The motor, a little squeaky, but seems to be spinning fine, so I'm not worried about that. So then I started to look, and this side is fixed. This side is fixed because this is the belt drive side. So that means this side needs to rotate. So this cap, trying to do this one-handed, would have to rotate. And this is a lot looser than it was, but it's still quite stiff. So I thought, well, is something gummed up in there, etc. So I thought, we'll take a look. This cap did come off, and what you'll see is that there is a bearing in there. And there's all sorts of junk goobered up in there. But even when I get my fingers on that bearing and try and move it, barely turns. Last thing I did, and you won't see this on the video, but I gave this little sealed bearing a sniff. Smells like nasty burnt plastic. So earlier, when this was being run, what was happening was that as this sat in there, the belt was turning this, and this was rotating, but because this bearing was junk, it just smoked the bearing, burnt it up. So looking at this, we actually got this thing used for like $20 or something dumb like that, and it's kind of big and bulky. So we're probably just going to get rid of it, because I don't know, maybe I could find a whole new roller or a bearing. Probably not worth the time. It's not a new vacuum, but that is kind of basic operation of things you would look for. So in reverse operation, if I'm putting it all back together, this cap goes on the end. You can see it's notched. It's not perfectly round. That's because it sits in this channel so that it holds in place, which is why you need a bearing to spin it. So I'll slide that back on. This would slide in. You would line up the belt over here. It's hard to do one-handed. I'm not going to do it perfectly because we're not going to put it all back together anyway. But you'd get a belt, you get it lined up, you'd slide this one into place. It's not sliding because the other one's out of place. Anyway, you'd slide that into place, make sure that's all lined up. You'd get your cover. Cover would go back on top. Whether there's screws on top or screws on the bottom, you would put all those screws back in, and that's your general operation.